Hey YouTube, here we are again. This is a 2017 Dodge with a Cummins diesel in it. We are going to be doing some cutting and buffing on it. It looks pretty damn shiny to me, but it's kind of hard to show you in the camera what we're going to be taking out. But we're going to make it even shinier. If I can move the camera along here, maybe you can see the wave in the paint as it moves. I think you can see that. There'll be a little wave in the paint. Well, we are going to attempt to take some of this wave out so it's even shinier. There we go. If you look real clearly on your screen or your computer or your TV or however you're viewing this, you'll see a little wave in the paint. Well, we're going to try to get rid of that or diminish it quite a lot. I'm going to show you how to do that. They call it cutting and buffing or wet sanding and polishing. We're going to show you how to get rid of some more of that wave and make it even shinier. But before I do this, I'd like to note and show you something. If I can, this vehicle has not ever been hit, so we've been told, or anything has ever happened to it. But I can show you somewhere right about here. Don't know if I can get this on the camera. I don't know if this camera is good enough to show this. It's pretty good. My eye can catch it. I don't know if I can get it caught on the camera. Maybe I can get it caught on the camera. There we go. See this right here? See these little lines that are in here? That is tall tale signs of a repair. Right in here that something was done to repair it here. And then it was painted over. What these are sand scratches. Like there was a dent here and they used filler and then the primer had shrank. And these are the scratches that the primer was hiding. So yeah, there you can see them. I got a really good camera. So now why would I show that to you? Because if you're gonna go buy a new vehicle, and they say it's never been hit, well, I'd like, you know, the regular average Joe to know what to look for. When you see something like that in your paint job, this had been repaired some kind of way. And maybe the seller isn't aware of it, maybe it's not the first owner, but when they tell you that, oh no, it's never ever been hit or anything, well, you need to know this. Because you never know. Being able to point this out, I mean, it could knock you off a few $100s on the sell. So that's another thing that on this channel we'll be showing you. We're going to be showing you how to see things like this, how to know things when you buy cars, or if you have something repaired from somebody, that you know what kind of job you get. Now keep in mind that something like this in a repair can happen. I mean, the repair could be good, and what's actually happening in this is that the primer is shrinking. That's what those lines are. That's why that's there. Okay? And it's going to buff right off. You buff it, it's going to level out, you're never going to see it. And so it's going to be fine. I mean, it is a repair. So, you know, it is what it is. That's just the way some of this stuff works. You know, it's a repair. It's not like they stripped the whole tailgate or put a new tailgate on. And stuff happens. But on average, most people don't notice this. So, I'm just educating y'all out there in YouTube world, or anyone that cares to watch my channel, to be able to notice things like this when you buy and sell, or whatever you're going to do with a car. At least, you know, if you saw this, you'd know what it is. So, you know, I'd like to say one thing. If somebody does a job for you and 4 years later or 3 years later or even a year and a half later something like this pops up, it doesn't mean that the repair is bad. It just means that the primer has shrank and gone into the sanding marks, and a little cut and buffing, and it'll go away. What this really is that when you go to buy a vehicle or something and somebody tells you it's never been hit or anything whatsoever, this is contrary to that. Something happened here. Somebody backed into something or something of that nature. So that's what that is. And I can't really show it on the camera, but you can see it up here too. So this vehicle had been fixed with probably a very small repair, but now you'll know what to look for. If you see something like that when you go to buy a car, and now you have a little more of an education, and that's that. So let me get back to what we're doing here. I'm going to be, well, not me, I'm going to be cutting and buffing this whole vehicle. And like I said, you can, when I move the camera, you can slightly see these waves. You can't really notice it looking into the camera, but we're going to be getting rid of about a third to maybe half of that, if not all of it, so that it'll look even more shinier and have more reflection and more definition of image. This is a really long process. It takes quite a while. So and you can see me in the reflection, which is pretty good, but we're going to make this reflection even better. So I'm going to do the hood and the fenders first up here, and then when I come down to do a door, I'm going to videotape one door from start to finish of how to do this, because you really don't want to. I couldn't imagine anybody just wanting to watch somebody do a whole truck when all you really need to see is how to do a small piece, and then you can do it on the rest of the vehicle. You guys get what I'm talking about. Well, let me get done, and then we'll start on the how-to of cut, buffing, and polishing and sanding, of how to do it and how to have a really good job in the before and after look. So let me get the front done, and then we'll come back to the rear, to one of these doors. Alright guys, we're gonna go ahead and start debadging this door. Like I said, I've already done the whole front of the vehicle. You know, I've already done the hood. I've already done the hood, got it covered up, and the fenders. So we're gonna move to this here door and debadge it. Let y'all watch, see what I do. Try to explain this as I go. Kevin seems to have the same issue. Yeah, we could just sit here and rub this off with our fingers like this, which would be fine if there was a small amount of it. I got a much faster way. These are called eraser wheels, and if you're careful with them, it makes this go real fast. The trick is with this is not to just that don't do anything. A consistent low speed will do a whole lot more. With ample pressure upon what you're doing without burning the paint. You have to think about this, so be very careful. When you're doing this, you may want to practice on something else before you actually do it to your truck, if you're unsure. Too hot in one space, move to another space. So the first thing you're going to want to do is clean the surface. You don't want to be grinding in all types of crap in your sandpaper. So a little glass cleaner, or just wash it. A little Windex, something. You don't really want anything with wax in it. It's going to make it harder to buff. I mean, not buff, harder to sand. Okay. I really do enjoy using 3M products. From their compounds, their sandpapers, I've always found them to always work for me. They cut really well. I seem to get a lot out of a little bit. That's what I use. I think they're a great company. So anyway, I do this with 2000 grit sandpaper. Now this is a brand new, this is a 2017, so this is original factory paint. So you can do this two of one ways. You can block it all if you like. Like this. Take your block. And one of the things I would like to remind those that are a beginner in this and have not done this before and is hoping to, this will show you how to do it, is that you need to do this a lot. You know, you need to look at what you're doing. So let me get the camera over here and show you what we're trying to achieve. Now, see how this is nice and flat and it's nice and dull? That's what we want, and then we just want to stop. You see how we have some orange peel still left here? And we're getting it here? We just want it to be dull. We do not want to take it any further than that, and we want to stop. We still have to get a little bit here. You know, that'll go away and then turn into that. But as soon as you get to this, stop. You don't need to go any deeper. This is not how to buff your freshly painted car. This is how to buff and polish and cut and sand a factory job. That's what we're trying to do here. So we continue, and you can do it with a block if you want to get it flatter, or you can just do this by hand, which is just going to take the orange peel out. And you're not really leveling a lot, but the orange peel goes away. And you can fold it over or put it in your hand like that. Mind you, this is how I've done these things. This is the way I do it. Works really well. Other people might have other methods. I've been doing cutting and buffing things for 20 years. I don't do it a whole lot anymore. I'm busy with a lot of other things, but for some of my clients that I've done things for, I still go back and do this. So I thought this time, well, why don't I show some people how to do this? And maybe they can just do it themselves, because this is pretty pricey having me do this. Anyway, we wipe dull, we're done. Move on to something else. Here, 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 or whatever. Now I know my videos, I'm not going to spend a bunch of useless time with you just watching me move. You saw what you needed to right there. Let me get it sanded and we'll turn the camera back on. And we're going to wipe off all this mess because we really don't want to use that part of our buffing. One may ask, why don't I just wet sand the whole thing and then buff the whole thing? There's a good reason for that. Have you ever heard of the saying, I've heard of the saying, how do you eat an elephant? Well, there's only one way to eat an elephant, one bite at a time. But this is a pretty darn big elephant. Not only that, that residue, if it's hot outside, if you don't clean as you go, this stuff gets a lot harder to get off later. So if you do if you're a little diligent, and as you step by step do a big vehicle like this, when the final wash is done, it can be so much easier. And you don't have crap all in the door. That's what all this taping is for, because when we buff, so we don't get compound all in here and we're having to scrub it all out. You know, we're going to try to do the best job we can, and that's why for all the tape and wiping it off. Well, it's going to buff faster if you don't have a bunch of residue left. And like I said, it's just dull. And you know, we're just doing a factory. It's just a factory paint job. We're just taking a little bit off. And by the way, guys, I don't know, but on some of these vehicles, I don't know what the warranties you may buy and stuff, but I just would like to put and let y'all know that if you decide to do this or have somebody do this, there's a certain mil thickness that is on a new car. And we are taking just the most minute off, but you're still taking some off. And could that mess with the UV barrier? Sure. You might have to keep it waxed all the time and take very good care of it. But you know, you get a better shine, but then you have to take even better care of it. So with that being said, when you do this, if you have any types of warranties or something, this could void it. The people that I do things for, they don't care. They want it to look the best all the time, no matter what. But I just thought as a little disclaimer, I'd throw that out there that you are taking some of your paint job off. So there's just a little less sun protection you had now that you're doing this. Okay, here's my 3M Perfected compound. This is from 3M. The part number is 06085. It's cutting compound. And I'm using a 3M pad. Now, when I buff with this, this is my method. They have several methods for using their products and things that may go faster. This is what I do. This is how I use it, and this is the way I do it. So that's just all I can tell you. This is how I do it. So I will say that they have methods and procedures for all of their stuff. This is just my way of doing it. It works out really well, and my customers are very happy. So here we go. am using quite a bit of pressure when I do this. I just know how much to put on there and how much to not burn it or mess up the paint. That's something you're going to have to learn on your own. How much pressure to use, how much not to use. That's something you're going to have to figure out. But I am always using my eyes and watching the material. Oh, and by the way, I am using a DeWalt buffer. Why do I prefer to use DeWalt buffers most of the time? In my opinion, they're lighter. And when you're sitting here, a lighter machine is a lot nicer. Almost 80% of your shine needs to be there before we move to the foam pad glaze. You need to almost be there with your compound. If you're not, then you're going to be doing a lot of work with your foam pad glaze, which you don't need to be using to do that. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm a little wasteful. I normally use even higher RPM, but I'm on a very low RPM, you know, maybe 1,000, maybe I think about 1,000 RPM, the lowest this thing goes, and I think that's what it is. I want a very low RPM because if you don't know, if you're just starting or learning to do this, if you use a higher RPM, you're going to smoke it. What that means is burn the paint. Yes, I am using quite a lot of pressure on this pad. This is just the way I do this. I'm not afraid to do it this way. I've been doing it this way forever, and it works out really good for me. And you learn how to do this, you can do the same thing. So you will get big shoulders doing this if you decide to do this for a living. We look pretty good. Now let's wipe it off. When you're stepping down compounds, definer, and polishes, it is so important, I feel, to do this. You don't have to, but you're going through a whole different grit of polish, and you really don't want it to be grabbing, you know, that other grit, you know, the coarser grit. You know, I mean, you're going finer and finer and finer, and you don't want to keep grabbing the rougher and rougher. So here's something where you'd want to take off the bottom of tape because we're using the finer stuff to go to the Jason in. Alright, see, we're almost there, guys. We're almost there. I'm going to go ahead and clean this off and show you a bit of the difference. Let's see if I can catch this on the camera. It's going to be awful hard to catch the difference in texture, but let's go to this panel. It's kind of hard to tell. Well, you can slightly see the waves in the bushes in the back. But then over here, see how we have this slight haze? Well, we're fixing to get rid of all of that with our polish. But there's just a way better definition already. We're there. All you got is this light haze. Scratches are out. 2,000 grit scratches gone. Alright, let's get rid of the compound scratches and really be able to tell the difference. Okay, the foam pad glaze is made, this is made by 3M as well. And the part number on that is 05996. And it's a foam pad glaze. My foam pad is 3M. This is 3M too. Actually, they call it machine polish. Well, this is what I use, and I love it. So, use it with a foam pad. It gets rid of the really fine scratches that come from the compound. Show you how I use it. I love it. All right, let's get going. Alright guys, that looks pretty good. I don't know if I'll be able to really get the definition change on camera, but it sure is noticeable. So let's go ahead and I'm actually going to wash this, and then we're going to put our wax on. Now, we can automatically wax something that's been on a factory paint job because it's been cured out for a very long time. The steps for doing a freshly painted vehicle are quite a bit different than this. So, please don't think that the method that I'm using right now would necessarily be a method you could use on a brand new paint job. This paint is hard as a rock. 2017, it's pretty old, so you can be a lot more aggressive with it. Another good reason for washing it is we want this surface to be really clean to accept our wax. We don't want any of the foam pad glaze in there still. Excuse me if I'm shaking over that buffer. It takes a lot out of you, even though it is lighter than most. So we definitely want to wash this. Or you can, I mean, if you don't have to do this right now. I mean, you could just hit it with a little bit of, glass cleaner if you wanted. But I kind of want you to be able to see the two panels. So we're going to wash both sides. Like I said, guys, I'm not going to film me doing this whole truck, but when the truck's done, I will do a walk around. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos and I've done a lot of fast forwarding. You can already tell how the water over here sheens off a whole lot better because the surface is so much slicker. And down here is a step, and I've gotten quite a bit of compound on it, and cleaning it right now is a wonderful idea so it comes off easier. There's nothing worse than trying to get dried compound off of something. The particular wax that I'm using, I'm probably not going to show that. I mean, here's the bottle, but you don't know what it is. If you really want to know what it is that I'm using to wax this thing, you can make a comment down below, or go to our website or whatever it's called, or make a comment and ask, and I'll be glad to tell you. It's nothing that's commonly on the market. I've just been using it for a very long time and I like it. You can pretty much use any wax you want to do this. That's the whole purpose of cleaning it so well, so it accepts the wax. Just kind of let it sit for a minute and or a second. Just kind of sinks in there. And I won't be making a video of me doing this whole truck. We're not going to fast forward me doing this whole truck. That's ridiculous. You're going to take my word for it that I'm doing the whole truck, and we'll do a walk around after it's all done. Here, something else to make you want to get in contact with us. Watch this. Tape, right? Hear that? Probably able to hear the noise. This doesn't. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. That's why I'm having such a hard time with this sticking in here. All right, there we are. This is definitely a 50% improvement. I don't think the camera is really going to be able to do it justice. Okay, here is the polished side. You can even see the metallic kind of in it. And then here's this side. See the trees in the background? I've moved the camera how it kind of looks like one of those funky pictures. And they're a little clearer over here. It is definitely shinier. I don't know if the camera will really do it justice. There's only so much you can do with the camera. There we go, kind of. You can see the movement in there and how there's not as much movement in here. There's more of a ripple. Watch that line. See that ripple? And then we move over here. See how that ripple is a lot more visible and it's not as distorted. Then you move over to this one. See how it's very distorted? So here's what we had, and now here's our improvement. A great deal of difference. So we have a lot more, I guess I'm just gonna say it, resolution of picture now. And if you saw it in person, you would really be able to tell. Well, thank you for watching again. This is what I'm doing today. So anyway, I'll do a walk around when the truck's all done, and that's how you. Well, I guess that's how I polish factory paint. Thank you. I hope this helps you. I hope this helps you in your own project if you decide to polish your own vehicle. Thank you.